We look at Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem, and the movie that inspired it on episode 306 of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Of course, I am your host, Guru, and joining me today we have Tracy.
Hello.
Hey, Tracy, do you speak Spanish?
Sí.
Oh, never mind then. Okay. Next, we have Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I hate that guy. Okay. And next, what I have here, I have listed here a little boy named Chris.
Banana.
You're the only one that didn't do it.
Well, I wasn't expecting this.
And, of course, the most handsome and probably the most evil podcaster on the show. The best one here, of course, is Darren. So, hello, Darren. Hello, Gru. How you doing? Good. All right. Well, I have to run, so I'm going to leave it in Darren's hands to continue the show. Okay? So, enjoy. All right there. So, hey, how's everybody doing?
Good. That was brilliant. Darren, your
Brilliant.
intros are getting better and better all the time.
Oh, that was awesome.
Thanks. I wasn't doing that, though. That was
No, that was Gru, obviously.
We got Steve Carell in here. It cost a lot of money, so.
Well, he's a big fan of the show, so we're good.
Well, that was it. Because Darren was just talking to him and he went, light bulb.
Nice. So we are continuing our way around Universal Studios Florida, looking at the attractions, or as Lee has it here. We continue our way around Universal Studios Florida to looking at the attractions and the movies that inspired them.
I wrote it in Gru speak.
Perfect.
That's my excuse and I am sticking to it.
So we are discussing Despicable Me. Tracy?
Yes, we are. The movie was released in the US on July the 9th, 2010. It was made for $69 million and it made $506.1 million at the box office.
What?
546.
546.1 million.
There's just 40 missing.
I never said numbers was my thing.
That's a bit of a profit, by the way.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
It actually had twin directors and it was directed by Pierre Coffin. Coffin is French, obviously. How would you pronounce that?
Coffin.
It's not Coffin, is it?
Coffin.
Pierre Coffin and Chris Renault.
They don't sound like
They're
twins.
What?
I didn't say twins. Twin director. I didn't mean twins as in twins. I mean, it had two directors.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie starred Steve Carell as Gru, a mean supervillain, Jason Segel as Vector, Russell Brand as Dr. Nefario, Miranda Cosgrove as Margot, Dana Geyer as Edith, Elsie Fisher as Agnes, Will Arnett as Mr. Perkins, the president of the Bank of Evil, Kristen Wiig as Miss Hattie, the owner of the orphanage Miss Hattie's Home for the Girls, Julie Andrews as Marlena, Gru's mother.
Does anyone find it weird? I'm going to get this into it, but Kristen Wiig is in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
As Miss Hattie, the owner of the orphanage. But then she comes into the second one and the third one as Lucy, the love interest for Gru.
Different
Which I
voice.
find weird, though, why you would pick the same actress that you've already given to a different character in the movie franchise.
Probably just really good to work with.
Yeah.
So
Possibly.
it's like, hey, let's get her in, again.
That should
Makes
be
sense.
cheap.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe that. And I didn't know that was Julie Andrews. Andrews.
Yeah, well, I didn't realise it was Will Arnett either.
Yeah.
That is not who I was thinking. I don't remember who I was thinking of during that, but it was definitely not Will Arnett.
Yeah. Although I could kind of hear his Lego Batman voice a little bit when I knew it was him.
Yeah, now that you know, it's like... Well, we're going to go through the movie and discuss it plot point by plot point. So let's go ahead and start this. Lee, transcribe this word for word.
No, didn't I? Got it off Wikipedia.
Any errors in here is directly from Lee. Send him private messages on Facebook.
Don't.
Gru, a supervillain, is disheartened when another unknown supervillain steals the Great Pyramid of Giza. Gru, with the assistance of his colleague Dr. Nefario and his minions, resolves to one-up the mystery rival by shrinking and stealing the moon.
Your favourite bit in this is that woman's breasts flapping in the wind.
No, it's not my favourite bit. I noticed it for the first time we watched it last night. As the geezer, the pyramids of Giza is like deflating all, and there's an old woman and a little spaniel's ears just flapping away. I was killing myself laughing. I think I was about 7 in my head at that point.
Considering how old it is, I think the animation still holds up really well.
Yeah,
It looks good.
It does. It still looks great. I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. It's a great scene too. It's just to see the pyramid deflate.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
cool.
A typical tourists as well. Like, we've been those tourists at the pyramids
Oh,
of
yes,
Giza.
we have. Did we touch the pyramids?
I
Phew.
don't think we did, actually.
Well,
Mhm.
we think we've seen the pyramids.
That's very true.
We may have seen very elaborate bouncy castles.
And I love how this movie continues the trope that they're somehow out in the middle of the desert when in reality they're like right up next to the city. And there's like a KFC within view.
That's
and,
Giza.
You'd actually be surprised. They're not right out, but they're not right next to the city either. But like when they always show it in the movies, they show the Sphinx as if the Sphinx is right next to them, and it's not.
It's not.
You have to get on a bus and drive to the Sphinx. It's that far away.
Oh, wow.
So it's more where the Sphinx is, where there's like a KFC
Yeah.
and a McDonald's and a Burger King.
Yeah, you stood looking at the Sphinx, you look behind you, and it's kind of like, oh, look,
Yeah, it's
all the fast food.
Nice. As it would be costly to steal the moon, Gru seeks a loan from the Bank of Evil. Bank President Mr. Perkins is impressed by the plan, but will provide the money only if Gru can obtain the necessary shrink ray first. So upon learning that an up-and-coming villain named Vector was responsible for the pyramid theft, Gru starts a rivalry with him.
Now, I was just going to say, the Bank of Evil, it makes me laugh every time when he walks through the doors, and above the doors it says, formerly Lehman
oh
Brothers.
yes,
Every single time, I'm crippled laughing.
Oh, that's great.
I love stuff like that.
I love Vector as a character. I think
Oh.
Jason Segel's brilliant. He's perfect for it.
Uh-huh.
Gru and the minions steal the shrink ray from a secret base in East Asia, but Vector intercepts them and steals it for himself. Gru attempts to break into Vector's fortress to recover the shrink ray even, but is defeated by numerous booby traps.
Why are they called booby traps?
I don't know.
I'd love to know where that term comes from.
Maybe ladies of yore. See, I'm getting
My what?
Sorry?
My what?
Yo. Oh, shut your face.
You get the drums out.
So, ladies of yore, maybe they were sick of fellas sticking the fingers down the boobies and put those Chinese finger traps in.
Okay.
So now you got booby traps. That's just what I'm thinking.
Well, it's funny when Vector steals it off him and he shrinks the ship they're in. I really hate that guy.
So booby actually means dumb person. Just look that up.
Oh,
Ah, a dumb person trap.
so you'd have to be dumb to get caught then.
Yeah.
Fair dues.
Perfect.
So I bet Thomas likes the scene where they steal it from Vector, though. There's a nice shark. He's got his shark underneath
I like that bit.
underneath the thing. All I kept thinking watching that was, how is that shark breathing? And like, I know they're underwater, but there was no way out for it. It was just.
How do you know that was just that one section?
I don't think it was. How's he feeding it? He's got terrible underpants, Screw, by the way.
Yes.
Grunderpants. Smiley faces.
Yeah, I forgot to mention at the beginning, but Gru is really super evil at the beginning of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And he kills like 5 people in a coffee shop
Yep.
just to get his coffee faster.
Yes.
And he actually steals that coffee too, whatever it
Yes,
was.
he does.
He did tip him at the end.
He did. He did.
Freeze ray.
That freeze ray, you cannot survive that freeze ray.
No,
well,
absolutely
actually,
not.
Vector does.
Vector did, yes.
He's a
Yes.
super villain, though, so I'll give him that.
That's true.
But everybody else is dead, I'm pretty sure.
But I did like how he made the little balloon dog for the child. And then popped it.
Oh, yeah, that was great, too.
So, however, he notices the 3 orphan girls, Margot, Edith, and Agnes, who are able to easily walk into the base because they're selling cookies. Gru disguises himself and adopts the girls, planning on using them to infiltrate Vector's base so he can get the shrink ray back. However, Gru has trouble nurturing them properly due to their rambunctiousness, their ballet classes, and his own ineptitude as a parent. Eventually, Gru and the girls arrive at Vector's fortress, and Gru steals the shrink ray. The girls then suggest a day at the theme park. Gru agrees. believing he can abandon the girls there, but instead he warms up to them.
I just realised I've jumped ahead of myself, haven't I? So the bit where the booby traps was where he's outside and he's
Oh yeah, you have
wiggling his ass on the tablet, and all the bombs come out at him.
Yeah, and the guns and
Yeah.
the lasers and stuff. Yeah.
Right. As theme park people, would you ride that roller coaster?
Never.
Yes.
Because it's got a tiny lap bar, and that first drop is like, holy crap!
I don't like Rip Ride Rockets, so there's your answer.
And it's got a loop.
And it's got a loop, yeah, it goes upside down in the middle of it. I was like, there's no way anybody's riding that.
Yeah.
Does look cool.
It's
Yeah.
still got one of the funniest bits, one of my favourite bits in the entire film, when they're trying to win the unicorn, and she hits it with the ball and it doesn't go down, and he's like, you see that alien spaceship there? Is it knocked over? No, it isn't. That means you're a loser. And he's like, my turn. And he pulls that gun out. It's like, a big fireball and blows. And it's the littlest one runs away. And she's like, cool, let's go and blow another game up.
Yeah. And that's when he gives that look and he has a little smile.
Yeah.
Like, oh, maybe they're okay.
She is so damn cute, though.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And then she's like, it's a Fluffy!
There's a reason that I named 3 of our rats for those girls.
I know.
Yes.
Just, yeah, that's funny.
It is. And I can't remember, what is it that Gru says to Miss Hattie when he asks about speaking Spanish? I can't remember the first word.
That's what Darren was hinting at
I
the
know
beginning.
it was. I'm not dumb.
Something about burro.
Como el burro.
Yeah.
Yeah, the face of a bull. Yeah.
Yeah, and then later she's like, well, I got a Spanish dictionary and I saw what you said.
Slaps
Yeah.
her in the face.
I didn't like what you said. Or something like that.
So, yes, later Gru contacts Perkins via video chat, stating that he finally has the shrink ray. Margot, Edith, and Agnes interrupt the meeting, and Perkins announces that he has lost confidence in Gru and will no longer fund his operations, because apparently in his plans there is a picture of him on the toilet, I believe. Is that bit, isn't it? Or not?
Yes,
is that
Agnes,
later on?
Is that, yes. Because Agnes has,
Yes.
Yeah, drawn it.
As Gru tells the minions he can no longer pay for their services, the girls offer the contents of their piggy banks.
Oh.
And Gru, inspired, sells parts of his lair to construct a spacecraft. Now, Gru plans to steal the moon when it is nearest the Earth, but this is the same day as the girls' ballet recital. Dun, dun, dun.
Plot twist.
I like his pink space outfit.
Oh, yes.
Gru becomes conflicted, and Dr. Nefario, seeing the recital is interfering with the plans, arranges for the girls to be returned to the orphanage. At the same time, Perkins informs Vector, revealed to be Perkins' son, another dun-dun-dun, of Gru's possession of the shrink ray and the adoption of the 3 girls, encouraging Vector to act. That's quite sad.
Mm-hmm.
You can see he's like really starting to get, I'm quite attached to them now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must say, though, that Dr. Nefario is my favourite character. And I don't believe if you didn't know that was Russell Brand, you wouldn't know that was Russell Brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had no idea.
But he's so cool. I love Russell Brand anyway. He's just dead funny. But I think he plays... I think it's... We were commenting on when we were watching this last night that like Steve Carell's put a different voice on for Gru, Russell Brand. It's like it shows you that you've got quite big celebrities who are prepared to step out of the way of their egos and not necessarily just be themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, like acting.
Yeah, but not everybody does that, do they? You know, you get a lot of people who are just themselves all the time
Yeah.
and could have quite easily done the same.
Yeah, so Gru successfully shrinks and steals the moon and rushes back to Earth to attend the recital, only to find a ransom note from Vector, who has kidnapped the girls. After arriving at Vector's headquarters, Gru surrenders the moon, but Vector reneges on the deal, flying off with the girls and the moon. Meanwhile, Dr. Nefario has discovered that the effects of the shrink ray are temporary. The bigger the object's original size, the faster the shrinkage will wear off. As the moon starts to expand in Vector's ship, Gru, Dr. Nefario, and the minions execute a daring mid-air rescue of the girls just as the moon explodes out of Vector's ship and launches itself back into orbit with Vector trapped on it. Sometime later, Gru has returned the Great Pyramid and readopted the girls, writing them a bedtime storybook framed around their own experience. The film ends with the girls performing their own ballet recital for Gru, his mother Marlena, Dr. Nefario, and the minions.
How cute is that? Well, both books, actually. I like the 3 little kittens.
We used to have that.
Yes, we
before.
did have it, and Jade threw up all over it, so we had to chuck it in the bin.
Yeah. But yeah, yeah. If that doesn't tug at your heartstrings, you're dead inside.
Right, there is a certain someone listening to this podcast now
Oh, he is dead inside. We know that.
that will be cursing this film. And I do understand his point, because Darren's kind of already brought it up. Andy's issue with this film is it did a total bait and switch, that he's supposed to be the world's evilest supervillain. And then by the end, it didn't even take him that long to become a big softie.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was only evil for like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't very long. And then I remember, because when we did our Real Fans for Real Movies versus UUOP, and I brought this up, and I was like, yes, but it has a special place in our heart because it was one of the first films we took the kids to see, and they're adopted, and it has a, it's, and he was like, okay, now I feel like an ass.
Ace in the pocket.
Oh, yes. No, I do see his point.
Yes.
I do.
But I really I think it still holds up really well.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it again last night.
I enjoyed it more than I expected to.
Yeah.
So
I think Steve Carell does like a phenomenal job.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's just a great actor, in my opinion.
Yes, he is.
Comedian, whatever you want to call him. But he did bring a lot of life into Gru, and I think he even brought him to life once on the Ellen show when he dressed up as Gru.
Oh, yes.
Yes. That was
pretty
hilarious.
awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Steve Carell is very much exactly kind of what we talked about. He is an actor because he's different in nearly everything you see him in. You think of something like 40-Year-Old Virgin and then compare it to something like Little Miss Sunshine, where it's like a suicidal, manic depressive.
Yeah.
He is fantastic. I think the whole cast in this is good. The three girls are brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually had an interaction with one of them on Twitter way back in the day. When the ride first opened, the middle one, Dana Gare, however you pronounce it.
Yes.
I tried to get her on the show, but she wasn't allowed. Which wasn't a surprise, but you've got to try.
Yeah.
But it's good. I enjoyed it. I know Andy hates the Minions. I don't get it. I love them. I find them, every time they're on the screen, they're hilarious. It doesn't matter how many times I see that opening scene with the pair of them at the water cooler going... giggling their ass. Or the bit when the photocopying the butt cheeks. It just... I think it just speaks to me being a big kid, but I find that hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I found that they were in there a lot less than I remembered.
Really?
Yeah.
The first movie, yeah. I think they introduced them more and more as as it went on. Despicable Me 2 has them. It's pretty much just them.
Yes, I think because they realised that people really like them.
So this one had a lot less than I remembered in there, but it's still a lot. Mm-hmm. Where they're going to like the Walmart is pretty great.
How cute is that?
Trying to find
unicorn to make.
No.
Impromptu karaoke session.
I'm very surprised Universal didn't get in on that and just sell just buy like little Walmart items and buy a scrubber and make unicorns out of them. There you go.
And
I think
pretty cheap merch.
They could have the vibrating chairs sat around the park.
Well, we'll get into it when we discuss the ride itself, but I think Universal will be kicking themselves a little bit as far as the theme park goes. But when we discuss the ride, we'll get into that a bit more. But yeah, I think it's considering it's 8 years old and it's had 2 sequels
it's only
and
8 years
technically 2010 did it come out?
Yeah.
It's only 8. It seems older.
It's had 2 sequels and kind of a prequel. And they've all been really successful. Even though I've seen the third one, I don't remember an awful lot about it, if I'm honest.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I gotta watch it.
Yeah, it was good, but it never really stuck in my mind. It was the one with the 80s kid who grew up to be a supervillain.
Yeah.
Because he was like popular and then he wasn't. And
Wait, you're talking about part 3 or part 2?
3.
Wasn't 3 with his brother?
No, that was the second one, wasn't it?
It was his brother.
He's called
Drew.
Is it Prue?
No.
I don't know now.
I thought it was the other way around.
The villain in the third one is definitely the 80s kid, because the second one's the one where he goes undercover in the... You've got me questioning myself now.
Despicable Me 3. It shows his brother.
We're going to is...
No, it is. It's the same. His brother and that guy's in it then.
Oh, okay.
Because the premise for the third one, Gru meets his long-lost child.
Oh, yeah, he's got all the hair and everything.
Twin brother Drew, who wants to team up with him for one last criminal heist. But yeah, it's Benjamin.
Yeah. The second one's El Macho.
Yes, that's yeah.
Oh,
with the chickens. That's the second one's the one with the purple minions, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are hilarious.
Yeah. And the third one, his brother's got Trump's hair, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's like the exact opposite of Gru.
So Trey Parker's in this movie. I have to watch that for sure now.
He's called Drew, and Balthazar Bratt, Trey Parker,
Drew?
is the...
He's the villain?
I said Drew.
All right.
You listen back.
Yeah, Balthazar Bratt. It was like an 80s kid who was like the big thing on TV, and he ends up stealing things, doing like moonwalks and stuff, because he steals a boat with bubblegum, I think, if I remember rightly, at the beginning.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
But they're good films. Does anyone know if they're doing any more? That's an interesting question.
I don't know, because they started doing the Minion spin-offs, didn't they?
I'm looking at the numbers for Despicable Me 3. The budget says 80 million and box office was 1.03 billion. So
Jesus, what?
I think they
Safe to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Holy
we might see some more then.
Wow, that is
Crazy how low these budgets are, especially with all the actors they have as part of it.
Yeah. Illumination CEO Chris Mellon said in September 2017 that a fourth Despicable Me film is in the works. So,
yeah, I'm just looking at IMDb there. There's nothing for it. Apparently, they've got a writer, 2 writers, no storyline, nothing else.
Yeah, but yeah, they'll definitely do something for that.
If the last one made like basically $1 billion, then yeah, I'm sure they would.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Even my dog loved it. Seriously, the whole time I was watching it, she was watching the screen the entire time. So, yeah.
That's crazy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then we'll come back with some park info.
Have you taken a stroll down Diagon Alley and visited Gringotts Bank? Grabbed a butterbeer and the 3 broomsticks after a long day touring Hogwarts Castle? No? Then what are you waiting for? Let our team of experts help make your dream a reality. At Mouse and Muggle Travel Company, we specialize in all things Universal Resort and promise to do our very best to put together a vacation package that fits your needs, wants, and budget. We specialize in Disney destinations as well. So if you're ready to get started planning your next family vacation, let Mouse and Muggle Travel Company do all the hard work for you. Just visit us at mouseandmuggle.com to fill out a no-obligation quote request or send an email to info@mouseandmuggle.com. And remember, whether you're a mouse or a muggle, Mouse and Muggle Travel Company can help make your next vacation simply magical.
All right, welcome back. And now let's go into Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem. The attraction at Universal Studios Florida opened on July 2nd, 2012, and replaced Jimmy Neutron's Nicktoon Blast. It's a 4D computer-animated simulator ride, which can also be found at Universal Studios Hollywood and Universal Studios Japan.
A little bit of info. Apparently, it is not in 3D in Japan.
Oh.
Are those replica rides over there?
Pretty much.
Okay.
The only difference is Hollywood got a much more fleshed out land than the other two.
Mm. So at the queue, waiting in line, guests find out that they are being recruited to be minions. The guests are also given a minion quiz to let them test themselves to see if they are fully prepared to be a minion.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 2 eyes. Oh, no, there's 2 eye ones.
Yes.
First pre-show room, which is Gru's living room. Guests enter the room and receive Minion goggles / 3D glasses, and it is explained to them that they are here to be trained as minions. Doors then open into the second pre-show room, which is Gru's laboratory. In this pre-show room, guests are told that they are being recruited to hench for the world's #1 supervillain by being turned into minions using a device called the Minion Gun, created by Dr. Nefario.
They were up all night thinking of that name.
The girls enter and ask to help, which Gru is reluctant to allow them. Guests are also made aware that it is the anniversary of the girl's adoption and they want to give him a present, but Gru has already left. The doors then open into the attraction room and guests enter.
Are we going to just totally skip over the fart gag there?
You can mention it if you want, Darren.
There's a fart gag there. And it's great. It's always
It
embarrassing.
is
Fuck on
the
you.
creme de la creme of that ride.
Because there's
Hilarious
also
when a little kid is, awkward when it's like an old lady.
yeah,
Actually, no, that's hilarious too.
isn't there where they scan? They're going to scan everyone to make sure they haven't got any diseases or anything. And there's always like, oh, there's a family from Florida there who haven't showered in a week.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I love the theming of those rooms though, because the living room is perfect down to the fact they've even got the family tree on the wall with the girls have drawn them
Crayon.
underneath in the crayon,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job with the theming.
Yeah, they did. Like even, I
Once
mean,
you
let's
get in.
even go from the outside. It looks exactly like Gru's house and the street and stuff. And I think, let's say, we'll get into it a bit more later. But I think
And we also, I think we forgot to mention the banana tree in the queue.
yes, a real banana tree. Has anyone stole a banana off it and eaten it?
The bananas actually grow on it.
Yeah, it's a banana tree.
Yes, but doesn't mean bananas will actually grow on it.
Well,
Apparently they do, but Universal takes them all off, so guests don't mess with them.
it means that they don't eat them and not pay for food in the restaurants.
Well, no, because that giant hand of bananas is actually very heavy, and if it fell on a guest,
How high did
Yeah.
they grow?
The banana trees
what?
are pretty
They're
tall.
pretty bloody tall.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're looking 20 feet upwards easily.
And the bananas grow at the top.
Yes.
All right.
And what you buy in the supermarket, like your 5 banana little hand
No,
It's
a little
a
hole opens up at the
big-
bottom.
thing.
A little hole opens up at the bottom of the tree and hands you bananas.
Shut up.
Or banana splits during the wintertime.
Yes, yeah, of course.
With a loud bang, the ride vehicle springs to life, rising up a huge tunnel. The lights turn on to reveal a bunch of minions cheering the guests on and waving to them as they rise. At the top, the vehicle arrives at a conveyor belt and is pushed forward towards a large set of doors. Once the doors open, riders see Gru's daughters on a hovercraft. Once Edith orders Kevin the Minion to zap the riders, he pulls a lever which activates the Minion gun, transforming the riders into minions. Next, the riders get pushed down a long tube to training by the girls. Margot welcomes the guests to the Minion training grounds.
I'll be honest at this point. I meant to watch this before we started recording. I have no recollection of this ride whatsoever.
I've kind of checked
I
out at this
remember.
point.
I have no recollection of it. I mean, I think we've only ridden it once.
I'm still bitter about Jimmy Neutron.
Before we go any further, Chris, how many times would you say you've ridden Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem?
Maybe 5 times.
Darren?
I'd say probably around the same, like 5 or 6 times.
We're bad. Once. We've only
Once.
ridden it once. Because
I
I'm
mean,
not
the thing
queuing.
is that this ride is also one of the longest queues in the park.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
So it's
always
very
at
rare
90
to get
minutes.
it to like a 30-minute, time frame.
I don't think I've ever seen it less than 90 minutes.
You walk in at park opening, it's
And
like
it's at 60 minutes from
Yeah.
like the minute you walk through the gates.
Yeah. Luckily, you can see from the outside where the express line is and how long it is. So, we have the express after 4 with the premier pass. So it's kind of easy to glance at it and say, okay, we can do this now.
Yeah. I think the times that we've ridden it was like during summertime when if you get some random, glitch in the park where the line isn't too long, it's a great cool off spot.
Right.
Get to sit down, get some air.
It's just if you hit it when that extended queue's for like down the side of the building, oh my God.
No.
It's just like you
Yeah.
just want to slit your wrists.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the queue for this ride is outside.
Yeah.
So-
The vast majority of it.
Mhm.
and it is about exciting as Rip Ride Rocket's queue.
Without
Yeah, but-
hostas.
Yeah.
Yes.
For a good part of it, yeah. It's not until you get into that inside portion, is it?
That's it. I
Yep.
mean, even it sort of comes round this and then goes down the side, doesn't it, as well? Yeah. Ugh.
Switchbacks. Ugh.
Well, as the riders slide down and avoid the water sprayers, Margot instructs the guests, "This is where we test your strength, speed, and ability to not die."
Handy.
As the riders attempt to dodge the water sprayers, mist is sprayed onto the audience from the ceiling.
Of course, it's a universal attraction.
Yup. The audience is also forced to dodge deadly security lasers, a huge cactus, and fly swatters along the way. Once some minions holding stop signs force them to stop running, 2 minions are being punched towards a mattress by a huge boxing glove. Then the riders are being punched down by another with 2 minions and unexpectedly stop at a chasm. This is where the girls put the recruits' problem-solving and teamwork skills to the test. The latter are forced to create a huge human-like minion chain to get across the other side. However, once Edith uses a huge banana as bait, the minions suddenly get distracted by it, causing the minion chain to break apart and the riders to accidentally plummet down a long hole to the bomb transportation sector, which is a restricted area. Gru also warns that it might be dangerous.
It might be dangerous. The bomb transportation sector.
I just gotta say, reading this is a lot more funnier than watching it. Like, I want to think of the guy who had to write this out and present it to Universal and be like, guys, read this, check this out.
Yeah. So when the girls are helping us to get out of the bomb sector, the worst happens, of course, because it's a Universal attraction. Bombs start to explode in the bomb transportation room. When the girls get startled by the explosions, Agnes loses her gift and the guests attempt to retrieve it by dodging the bombs. Also, the double buzzsaw on the verge of crushing the riders and the girls into pieces, with Agnes barely catching it. However, when the 2 minions that the guests used to follow start to fall down, Gru arrives, attempting to catch them, but he falls down with them. Only to be nearly saved by grabbing hold of the hovering vehicle that Margot, Edith and Agnes are riding. However, as Agnes is about to give her present to Gru, her adoptive father gets unexpectedly knocked off the vehicle by a huge mallet. Why is there a mallet in there? Why is all this stuff in there?
Why not?
Because they're making weapons, right?
Maniacal scientist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
They have to use mallets. The girls continue, but Gru gets hit straight at the riders. The riders then suddenly end up among Gru's daughters. What? Okay. Yeah, there's another one of those funny ones. The riders then suddenly end up with Gru's daughters, get pushed off their vehicle in another sector. Once off the conveyor belt, Margot, Edith, and Agnes are starting to float, making them realize that they are in the anti-gravity recycling room. To make matters worse, a huge robot arm rises from under and pushes the girls up, ending up being surrounded by claws and other hazards, but they hold on to it. When this happens, Margot warns her younger siblings just to remain hold of the robot arm. Remain hold of it, please. However, one of the crushers nearby startles Gru's daughters, causing Agnes to lose her present. Seeing her present floating away, Agnes lets go of Margot's hand, much to the latter's concern. I am very concerned. And attempts to float off to recover the gift, narrowly avoiding a bomb. However, once Agnes recovers her 1-year present by barely avoiding a huge spike crusher, she starts floating into a huge oscillating fan, when all of a sudden Gru arrives, blocking the crushers with a steel beam, then saves Agnes. Seeing each other, Gru and Agnes give themselves a hug. Not each other.
Yeah.
When suddenly the Smashers start moving again, leaving Gru no choice but to summon all of his strength to stop the huge crusher just in time, saving all of them, including himself, from being smashed.
Right, let me just go back to something. So they were in the anti-gravity recycling room. Are they recycling anti-gravity?
Well, yeah, you don't want to just let it go to waste.
But how can you recycle anti-gravity?
How do you
Well, if you were a supervillain,
I don't know.
If you were a supervillain, you would know.
Fair enough.
You need the recycling gun, of course.
Of course.
Come on, Lee, you've got the tattoo. You got to start to walk the walk.
Aloha Mora. Oh, that's a different one.
Wingardium Leviosa.
That's the one.
Good grief.
I don't know those spells. I only know dark ones.
Okay, fair enough. Because of Gru's strength and pressure that are used to both save Agnes and stop the huge crusher, the anti-gravity recycling room's power goes down, and the riders, along with Gru and his daughters, land safely on a crowd of minions. Poor minions.
That's what they're there
Only
for.
the ones at the very bottom are crushed to death.
Yeah. Once both the Gru residents and the guests land safely on the minions, so basically it's like the Wizard of Oz and the house lands on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gru opens Agnes' present, revealing a doll replica of himself.
Aww.
Aww. Despite that Agnes says it's a little squashed and burnt,
I can imagine her saying that.
Gru finds it absolutely perfect and gives his daughters a hug. Also giving the trio a little something, an amusement park-like anniversary party, asking if they really thought he would forget the most important day of his life, the day he adopted his girls.
Aww.
Aww.
Heartfelt moment inserted. So once the huge door opens to the party, the riders follow the Gru residents, now riding on a hovering vehicle, avoiding the party decorations all the way to the stage. Once there, Gru congratulates us of being successful in their training. However, a stray rocket is fired at the minion gun right next to Gru. He protects his daughters. However, the gun breaks and goes off on the riders, causing the effects to be reversed, transforming the guests into humans again. Once this happens, Gru gets disappointed, realizing the riders are human again, orders someone off screen for the next troop. The vehicle is pushed backwards and slowly lowers down through the same hole they came up through. Rainbow-colored mist is sprayed, which covers the vehicle as it reaches the bottom and the ride ends.
It reaches your bottom. I thought that was a minion gun, not a fart gun. And for the best part of the attraction, guests then leave the main room into a dance party with the public dancing to Boogie Fever, along with one costumed minion, usually standing at the side with a handler doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Checking Facebook.
When was the last time either of you two rode this? I think we've had this conversation before. Do they still do the Minion Dance Party or not?
Yes, I know they still do. I think it's mainly just a photo op in there, though. But especially during the busy times in the summers, they will definitely have a couple of them in there dancing with the kids when they come out.
Right.
I've seen one.
I'm
before.
determined next time we go, I'm riding this ride and I'm going through that Minion Dance Party, throwing some proper shapes.
I'm going to video this because...
oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Lee can dance.
Oh, I can dance.
This is exclusive Producers Club video that's going to be shared.
I can dance.
I've seen Lee dance once. And that was at our wedding. And it
Michael
was
Jackson
a
ain't got nothing
twirl.
on me, do you?
Really?
Oh, really?
I'm going to sell this video to the highest bidder.
No one will give you jack for it.
Depends on how
They'll
these,
pay you to keep it.
how these moves are thrown.
But again, going back to, I'll echo my earlier sentiments, I have no recollection of this ride whatsoever.
I have a little bit.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not proportional to the success that the franchise has had for Universal.
No, and I don't think this is what I was going to say earlier. I don't think Universal expected Despicable Me to be the monster hit that it was.
No.
Yeah.
So they did that theme park thing of we expect it to be relatively successful, so we need to put something in the park quickly. Jimmy Neutron's way out of date. Let's just retrofit it into there. It gets it in the park. Then it hits massive, and they're like, "Oh crap!"
But when you look at the movie, it's a complete movie. There's no cliffhanger. There's no
setup for a
there's no setup. So I think they expected it to be a one-off. To be quite honest,
It's like a $50 million budget movie, so
yeah,
kind of a small budget. I think, we'll pump out a little bit.
Such a shame because I think if they could have built Minion Land,
Super City
Despicable
Funland.
Me Land in Kid Zone, it would have been ideal. You know, you could have had the street, you could have had some sort of attraction inside the house itself. Build a little mini Super City Funland with a couple of daft, flat rides or a little kiddie coaster. Put the carnival games in there, and that whole area would have been fantastic. They kind of done it out in Hollywood. They've got a Super Silly Funland, but it's like a daft, it's like Toon Lagoon, isn't it? Like a water play area for kids.
Yeah.
But I think if they'd have realised how big it was going to be and how many films it would spawn, I think they'd have wanted to do something much bigger than they have.
I think so.
That makes sense.
I wonder... Because it's a franchise they own as well. They own Illumination Entertainment, so it's not something they have to pay royalties to, like a Harry Potter or a Jurassic Park or something like that. So they could do with it what they want.
Free reign.
I do wonder if it's something we will see come to the third gate.
Very possible.
Yeah.
Probably more Minion specific, I'd assume.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Probably still like a play area, like a kid area, which would be a nice theme for that.
I mean, there was rumours not that long ago, wasn't there, of Shrek being replaced by a Minions attraction, because It was the last one, wasn't it, where they were going... Oh, no, I'm getting confused now. Was it Minions where they were going to Villain Con?
Minions, yeah.
Yeah. And it was... Villain Con was in Orlando, wasn't it?
Because we're going looking for a new leader.
Villain, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was...
Was it a prequel?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Because it went back to Minions like in the Stone Age and stuff.
Yeah.
But VillainCon was in Orlando, so everyone was like, right, seriously, they're setting it up to do something in the parks with it, but they haven't really. And there was rumours that they were going to do something replacing Shrek, but again, nothing. We haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
No, even we hope to.
Desperately.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, I think it speaks volumes the fact that we've been twice since this been open and only ridden it once. And I've never really been like, oh, I want to go on it, but I'm not going to because it's a 90-minute wait. It's just like, I'm not even bothered.
But I'm very grateful to those people who will go and have a 90-minute wait because that keeps them out of the park. Well, they're in the park, but you know what I mean?
It's an ideal
stored.
ride for the front of the park, really.
It is.
Because it's going to filter all the kids out immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, you've got Shrek, the 1-2 punch of Shrek on one side and Despicable Me on the other.
Oh, yeah.
True.
There's a morning gone already for families of small children.
Yeah. At least you're not starting with something amazing, too. You know, you got to start with something, lame and work your way up. You can't have, like, the best rides at the front.
True.
It's just, it'd be interesting to see if they'd have gone, right, we know this is going to hit big, what attraction they would have done.
You think they would have done like a big theme coaster? But they wanted it to be kid friendly too, which would be tough. Yeah,
it wouldn't.
Maybe the Back to the Future replacement would have been them instead of Simpsons.
Maybe. Maybe that's an interesting one.
And do that whole like Simpsons theme coaster deal, but instead in Super Silly Funland.
Yeah. So basically, what Springfield would have been. That's interesting. Actually, that would have worked quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still take my Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need donuts.
Yeah, that's the
and
problem
Duff beer.
with it being.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't lend itself to merchandise. It does, yet food-wise, not so much.
Oh yeah, and dog food bowls full of candy.
Yeah.
They could just make a Sundays that look like that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Pizza.
Yeah.
And the bathrooms will just be wee-wee pads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I know we've done a lot of blue sky stuff recently, and it's difficult to try and come up with stuff that is, what is that next evolution of a theme park attraction?
True.
Yeah. It's a good job we're not the ones in charge of that then, isn't it?
I was listening to the Orlando Tourism Report today, and they were talking about Dynamic Attractions, which I think, if I remember rightly, is the company that made Gringotts. And it's based in Orlando, the head office for that. And they were saying that they've got 2 contracts to build 2 new attractions, one of which will be groundbreaking as far as the technology that they're going to use. It will be a technology that will do something that has never been done before on that specific type of attraction, and it will be in an Orlando-based theme park. But it's just, I know we're just theme park fans, but it's hard to think what is that next step? What takes a theme park attraction to something entirely different that we've never seen before?
I mean, not to take away from Universal, but I mean, if we're just thinking that next step, I think Disney's kind of doing somewhat of that right now with the whole Star Wars land and the things that, we've read about, where you can have an interactive experience all the way from your hotel into the park and track your experience and almost turn it into a game-like thing.
Yeah, gamifying interaction.
Yeah, it's like the integration of technology along with your entire stay.
I do still wonder how much that's going to be implemented into Star Wars Land. When you've got a theme park area, and a relatively small one at that is rammed.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's what we'd like to see, like theoretical, and then there's actual what's going to happen when you have an area that's not even going to be able to walk through it in the beginning.
Yeah.
So how well it goes off is one thing, but I can see, using the interactiveness of the technology that we have already, whether it be our phones, or some other kind of device that you can buy, or something to kind of track an experience. Everybody loves. I mean, a lot of people, I think, love playing, games and just interactivity like that. I know we've talked a little bit like for Nintendo Land, but that may be the next kind of evolution in theme parks.
Yeah, an overall immersive experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah, because it's interesting when you look at, we should do this on a show actually with a bit more prep. If you look at for me, the last groundbreaking attraction that a theme park in Orlando did was, for me at least, Forbidden Journey. Yeah. It did something that's never been done before. I think Gringotts did to a certain extent, but not to the level that Forbidden Journey did. Gringotts is still, at the end of the day, a coaster. Yes, it has elements we haven't seen before, but it's still, for all intents and purposes, just a roller coaster. It's the next evolution of The Mummy. I would see it that way.
Here's a question for you. Do you think Gringotts would be as popular as it is if it was themed to something else? Right? You have that coaster, interactive with the screens, all that kind of stuff, but themed to something else that's not Harry Potter related. Would you still consider it like a next level ride, or just an okay ride?
So to put it into context, if Gringotts hadn't have opened, say they never opened Diagon Alley, and the Fast and Furious attraction was that Gringotts attraction, would it? I actually think that would work quite well for that type of attraction.
Yeah, you could use those tracks to like drift the vehicles and stuff like that. Be a lot more exciting than what they got.
So as long as they pick the right franchise for it, possibly.
Yeah.
I think it possibly, obviously it made sense for Gringotts.
Yeah.
Because it is what it is. But there possibly could have been better applications for it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It's tough to say, isn't it? But then you look at, like, going back to what I was saying, you look at like the last couple of attractions that Disney have put in. Obviously Pandora. I have not ridden Flights of Passage, and everyone's raved about it. But at the end of the day, it's still just a screen-based ride. Does it, Chris? Darren, I don't think you've been on it, have you?
Nope.
Chris, have you been on it?
No, I want to, but not yet.
Do you know if the Banshee thing that you sit on moves?
Yes, it breathes.
No, I mean as far as actual moving around to make you fit, like, I can't think of anything that's like
on like a motion plate kind of thing.
Yeah, does it move around to give you a sense of motion other than the screen?
I think so, but I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if it's individual or like a whole platform type thing. Movement.
But the point is, at the end of the day, it's only like the Simpsons stroke Back to the Future 2.0. It's still just something you sat on surrounded by a massive screen.
So, but you can also look at it, and again, I haven't ridden it, so I don't know how realistic it feels, but little details can change everything about a ride.
Yes,
and in this one, I don't know how they do the breathing thing on the ride vehicle. I'm assuming it's something on the sides,
pneumatics or something.
And so maybe that kind of mental kind of reality they're giving you that you're on a living creature while going through this ride makes it that much cooler of an interactive ride than just sitting on a chair and then going through the air kind of thing.
True.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That could be the one little difference that does it. Who knows?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then you look at the other attraction they put in there and it's like, really? Another boat ride? How many boat rides does Disney have? I've claimed that Universal needs something like that purely because they haven't got one.
We should start saying that next time somebody starts bringing up screens.
Yeah, well, it's right. How many have they got?
Boat rides.
Yeah, boat rides are their screens for us.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean, Frozen,
Three Caballero.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever that Grand Fiesta tour. Obviously the Pandora one. I'm trying to think. There's definitely another one, but it won't come to me at the moment.
It's a Small World.
That's the one.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah. That's the quintessential Disney attraction is a boat ride. And I love them, don't get me wrong. But it's like they haven't done anything groundbreaking. And it's very short, apparently.
Yeah.
But I think, hopefully, from what Alicia's told us and what we've heard from the new Potter coaster, it's hopefully going to turn the tide and push theme park attractions in a more, and it's weird to say you're kind of moving backwards a little bit to going back into that old school, more physical animatronic type attraction rather than the screens. But I think that's what people want, and I understand why they don't do them.
Well, yeah. Well, let's just go even more old school and just add consequences into it. You know, like you're going to get on this coaster, you might not get off. Just saying.
Isn't that like the front of the park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, especially when Star Wars Land opens, and then what Universal counter that with. As far as, I mean, what's the next big thing? What are we expecting next from Universal? Obviously, we've got the Potter Coaster next year. Have we got anything sort of on the horizon that they've even kind of hinted at, other than some high action thing that's going into T2 3D? Have they give us any sort of hint of anything else that's coming in the next few years?
Not really, no.
You just have to wait for that day. They're going to drop the bomb on the fourth gate.
I would expect that to be in about 2 weeks' time.
Wow.
Because Toy Story Land opens on the 30th of June, and I expect them to make some sort of decision for something in that time frame.
Yeah.
See, I thought they would do it during Star Wars opening.
But when's that? That's the back end of next year. They're going to want, what we've just said there. Other than the Potter Coaster, we've got nothing on the horizon. So they've got to give people, just even if it's a teaser of what's coming.
Something else to look forward to.
Yeah, not next year, but the year after. We know next year's Potter Coaster, what's coming after that. Just drop us something. We're going to be building something in the studios, or it might just be a case of, you've seen we've bought this land, we are going to be building the third gate. Don't even need to give you any details, that's enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something, that's what I expect for Star Wars Land. Around the time that opens, or they start giving out proper details, they'll probably, it'll either be third gate or Nintendo World. But I think they need to give us something now, just as a hint of what's coming next. And it may well be that T2 3D replacement. Yeah. But I expected something around the opening of Toy Story Land, just to temper that a little bit. Disney are opening something new. What have we got? We've got nothing this year. We had Fast and Furious. It's open to horrendously bad reviews. I was showing Tracy a post in the annual pass holder group yesterday. There was a woman and a daughter, and they love it. She's ridden it twice, or 2 or 3 times, and she really likes it. And it was the first time her daughter riding it, who was 10. She loved it. And look, here's a selfie of us on the party bus. We had the whole thing to ourselves. And I was like, well, yeah, that speaks volumes, doesn't it? No one wants to ride it. That's why you've got the bus to yourselves.
Wow. With a new attraction, that's pretty unheard of.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's... Yeah.
Telling you, coming off that attraction, it was just dead silence. Nobody was saying anything, and then just one random person goes, "That was just terrible."
Oh wow!
It's I know we've had great fun crapping on it, but it is sad for us who are fans of Universal.
Very much.
It's sad that they've opened an attraction. You usually get split. People are like, "Oh, I liked it. It was all right," or "I didn't think much of it." But to get something that seems to be sort of 90% hated by people, it's sad.
Yeah.
But on the positive side, hopefully it sent the right message to Universal.
Oh yeah, hopefully.
That they now know they have to change things.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Only time will tell.
That went off on a tangent, didn't it?
Just a bit.
A little bit.
Not like us.
Yeah, Despicable Me, anyways.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Don't write it.
It's all right. I'm sure kids love it.
Good movie. Okay ride. Good gift shop.
Yeah.
The gift shop is cool, actually.
Do they still have the send an email thing?
Do they? I don't remember if they do or not. Still have that in there.
No, it used to be. There was like, I know we did it in 2013. There was like a big, like a selfie screen outside. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't think so. Usually stuff like that doesn't last outside long in Florida. So
Yeah.
Mm.
Our emails didn't arrive.
I've got mine.
I never got mine.
Yeah, I've got mine.
All right. Well, I think that is going to do it for this one. Unless anybody's got anything else.
Nope.
Nope.
No more,
Exactly.
No more tangents.
No, it's Despicable Me. I will say that just to really on everyone's day, the next attraction that we will be coming to, as far as our walk around the parks, looking at the movies and the attractions and the movies that inspired them, we're all going to have to sit through Transformers, I'm afraid.
Oh boy.
Yep.
I'm ill that day.
You never know. I might watch it and go, do you know what? It wasn't as bad as I remember.
And then I'll be speaking to my lawyer.
Part 1 was okay. The other one started getting bad, I think.
No, I checked out at Frenzy. Sorry.
Well, we just have to get through all these until we start doing the vintage rides, and then Back to the Future will be the first one. Right, Darren?
Yes. That'll be great.
I'll watch all 3 for that one.
Okay. Yes, definitely.
Cool.
All right. Well, that is going to wrap up this show. Join us next week for another episode of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast.
Cut, print. That's a wrap for another episode of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Never miss a show by subscribing on Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review while you're there. Not an Apple user? You can listen on Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, or your podcatcher of choice. Email us any questions or comments to podcast@uuopodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Instagram, and Pinterest. Just search UUO Podcast. Keep up with the latest news, rumors, and updates on our blog at uuopodcast.com. Thanks for listening. See you next week.